Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And hello, everybody. We're here again. Oh my God, you guys, this is an amazing guest I have today. She is so fascinating. One of the more fascinating people I've had on recently, Aliki Helman. Greetings.
I am delighted to be here, and I do believe that whatever you want to create in this experience, because it's always co-creation, it's never one person creating anything, it's us together, that will be valuable, transformative for you, because without you, nothing would happen. So thank you, Daniel, and thank you, those of you who are listening right now, because we are co-creating this together right now.
Yes,
Delighted to be
so
here.
it is. And so it is. That is so beautiful. I want to tell them a little bit about you. So Aliki Helman is a high performance expert who helps leaders find the genius within them co-creatively, right? And stay in that flow for greater fulfillment, joy, and success at work and in life. Genius is the unique, extraordinary abilities that are encoded in each person, their superpowers. Right now, it is the highest unused potential in the world. And my God, I so agree. And that's why I have her on today. There's so much untapped potential, and I'm just like frothing at the mouth to talk about it with her. So, as an executive coach and HR leader with 20 plus years of experience building successful technology startups with 80% of successful acquisitions, Aliki discovered patterns about how greatest leaders, professionals, and organizations think and how they get into flow, and codified what she learned into strategies of awakening unique genius in individuals and teams for high performance into the genius methodology. She helped to unleash the potential of people and fuel growth of Singularity University, which has 100 plus chapters around the world, bringing the brightest minds from together to solve the global grand challenges with exponential technologies like, hey, it's a good subject for us to talk about today a little bit too, artificial intelligence, the thing some people are afraid of right now, augmented and virtual reality, data science, and digital medicine, and far more. So I'm grateful to have this discussion with you. And I decided we go with the focus of quantum humans and awakening your genius DNA, because you gave me both choice. I said both. So here we are. We're going to talk about all of it.
Delighted to, in
Okay.
every way.
All right.
Very timely too.
So, so yeah, tell us about, you know, you're just like you're creating all these things to help people to really tap into their quantum human is sort of how I see it, right? So they can download their genius and their genius DNA, awaken their DNA, genius DNA, etc. Sometimes it's really fascinating is to kind of hear your path to where you got to a place where you wanted to create such things. I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey into wanting to help to awaken this latent potential. We have so much, well, maybe we'll start there. We have so much untapped potential. I always say we're infinite power, we're infinite intelligence that's happening, and yet we act like we're so limited, like, well, the lack separation program, right? That DNA seems to grab hold of us, and we're like, oh my God, we're so limited. And then, but the truth is, it's just the opposite. And I always say, like, the truth is always the opposite of what we're hearing when we're in the density often, right? So it's like, no, just flip it around and you got it right. Oh, then I'm unlimited. So I wonder if for you, like for me, I've always felt some level of this unlimitedness, in my own, journey. Like as a kid, I had that you have that child sense of like, oh, everything's possible. And then also just for me as a teenager, they take me to a psychiatrist. I was like, I could do anything. I could make objects move. I can blow things up. I can, and then I was mentally ill. You know, you got problems, buddy. We're gonna have meds for you. And I think, there's so many things that have been shutting us down. I just, part of my story, but tell, yeah. So tell us about this untapped potential in your own experience of really wanting to share, like how much more is available for people.
I don't even know how much more is available for people, because as we start tapping into it more and more, whatever we thought were the limits, the horizon that typically moves for us as we go forward, it keeps on expanding and expanding. I remember I was one of the trainings, and we're talking about the things we were doing, working with parallel realities and possible realities and creating things, which is normal for quantum world. And we are very big systems, so we follow the same rules as very small systems for which we are quite familiar with quantum physics and how it works. And it works at our level as human beings as well. We'll talk about that later. But the whole idea was, if I was to hear that conversation a month prior to that training, I would think I was crazy, as well as the other ladies with whom we were talking. But it was very structured, very logical. We knew what we were doing. It was repeatable. It achieved the purpose. So it was very scientifically based. But for me, even for me, to hear that a short time before it happened would have been um, impossible to use, to think that way, to work with this kind of things, just because, again, at that time my horizons were closer. I mean, not closer, but they were not as far moved to include that reality. So what happens, it's very interesting. There is truly infinite potential, and what we think is possible, it is what limits us. One of the core things, and that I have learned for myself and everybody else, is that whatever we believe is true. If we believe we're ordinary, then we live an ordinary life. If we believe we have to suffer, we will. If we believe we are extraordinary, and we choose to create extraordinary, create with joy, create without focus on self, but in a bigger impact, then we create something of that. And as we create that, we get more energy. And as we get more energy, we realize we can do more and more and more. And we're awakening things that were dormant in us. What I'm talking about, the genius DNA, is you may have heard about that in many different ways. The science, when we're doing the genomes and everything else, we're talking about some of the junk DNAs, at least the things we don't understand why they're needed. If you look at the spiritual world and esoteric world, they talk about the deactivated human DNA, which comes with the extreme powers. So what we're doing, first of all, is seeing it differently. What's DNA? What's biology? What is everything? When we go to the smallest particle, it is just vibration. Our thoughts affect how we vibrate. It's called epigenetics. The science of epigenetics says that our environment affects our genes. They switches them on or off, like radiation, for example, some exposure to chemicals that are not good for you. It switches on some of the DNA that was dormant there, and people get sick. Our thoughts also affect our DNA, physically as well as energetically. So if we are always under stress, what happens? We build chronic stress, we switch on the diseases. If we are in a different place, we switch on different things. People have had there's a lot of examples, stories, including in my personal life, of spontaneous healings. When people, one of the famous stories was, a gentleman who was terminally ill, locked himself in a hotel room with a lot of funny videos and just loved himself to health. We can do that. We are changing the vibration of how we exist. We are the observer that affects our reality. When we see ourselves as capable and powerful, that's what we become. If we see ourselves as having the superpowers, we just have to discover what kind of superpowers we have. In reality, we create with thought. Everything we know has been created with thought. You take this mug, right? It's a mug. Somebody envisioned it, the shape, the form. Then somebody envisioned how it's painted. Only then it was created. Before it couldn't be created. So we create everything without a thought. And that's why it's so important for us to accept the fact that we do have the genius potential. We do have the genius in it. It's unique for every person. It's not just the IQ. We'll talk about that later. But when we do, miraculous things start happening. Because now we expect from ourselves something of that caliber. And we're being the observers that affect our reality. And when we expect that, we do it because we have all of this potential. We just don't access it. We don't go in that direction. We just don't open the door. But now, if we expect ourselves to be able to create something that we couldn't before, we will. You all remember the movie Matrix, right? You know,
Oh,
how
yeah.
they're bending the
One of
spoon
my
there.
favorites. Yeah.
Yeah. When we believe it's possible, truly believe, it starts happening because then we become one with this reality. And I know that's something that's a far-stretched situation for a lot of people. But when you believe, when you wake up in the morning and you believe that you can have a marvelous day where everything is going to be just flawless and wonderful, what happens? You set your day to be that way. If you wake up in the morning and choose to think it's going to be a bad day, it's exactly what you're going to experience. So one of the things, to me, the biggest untapped potential is about how we think. I used to think that I didn't have any special abilities because everybody around me was in my mind, more capable than I was. My father was a physicist. My husband was a physicist. Everybody in my family was teaching something in a university. When I came to United States, and I'm originally from Russia, then everybody here was an engineer, and I'm not very good with hands. And I couldn't quite do it that well. I do have a degree in chemistry, and I do have a degree in psychology, but it came, that wasn't my strength, even though I was able to achieve certain things there and do some interesting research in chemistry, for example. Psychology I loved. But the whole idea was I didn't see myself as being genius in everything. I imagined myself being that house that gives people warmth, safety, comfort, so that they can create what they can in that place. That was my perception of my role. And therefore, I worked with a lot of startup companies where I was creating that environment, that culture, that possibility for them to create. And they've created some absolutely unbelievable, legendary products in medical device industry. I had a lot of medical device startups that I worked with. So that was my perception, that I couldn't do what they could. Therefore, I had to do something around it. But interestingly enough, it gave me an opportunity to observe what works with people. And today, like, how do they create? What are the patterns? What makes it work? How do they get to that different level of imagination? And how do they make it into reality, real products? And what's amazing, my personal genius is in helping others to discover theirs. So I'm still that house, only it has a very different meaning. In my house, there are miraculous things that are happening because this is where people wake up. It was so interesting. I had one client come into my house for a session, and it was the first time I saw her. She was a daughter of a friend. So, we had some tea first, and then we talked about what she wants to work on, and then we had a session. When she left, she said, "Oh, my Fitbit that she was wearing showed that she was asleep from the moment she walked into the house." Meaning it's a different brainwave.
Right.
And this is how we create. We create an altered state. When we're on our regular state of mind, a very logical one, we don't create at that level. We can have a little bit of innovation, a little bit of ideas, but it's 10% innovation versus creating something truly, truly novel. So this was my journey. I thought I had a problem. Turned out that my problem, that I couldn't make things myself, being an engineer, because I'm not an engineer, turned out that was a gift, that I couldn't do it.
Right.
Because now I help others to find their genius.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? Oh my God, I can't do that. I can't do that. And then it's like, yeah, just funny how that leads us on a path of discovering what is our actual, true potential and gift. And I think a lot of people run into that. Oh, I'm not good at this, or I can't do that, or whatever. And thank God you can. You can always find the blessings and why it is that you didn't measure up, seem to be measuring up, is what I'm trying to say. So, like for me, like as an example, coming out of getting master's in clinical psychology, first job I go to. First of all, I had a rough time in my master's program. Because I asked a lot of questions. I was different. It's just a different frequency, different person. So they thought, oh, is there something wrong with me? There was nothing wrong with me, but that they saw it that way. But but there were things they wanted me to work on that were helpful ultimately to me, because it's always pointing to that too. But like I didn't first job I got out of my master's, I got fired. Now did I get fired because I'm not capable of doing this work? Like, first of all, the masters are already telling me maybe I'm not very good at this stuff. Then I go into, but they say you're really good at assessment. Boy, you're tuned in. I didn't use those words, but basically that's what it amounted to. When I get into a job, oh, no, you're fired. Okay, so am I no good? Can I not do this sort of thing? I had to get into the working with the right people, the right environments, the right things. In my whole life, I've had to work on my being and my thoughts, my actions, and always in the positive direction. Because for me, I'm empathic, so I've got like a big storm of a different energy. It could be hugely positive, and whoa, I can just feel like I could light up the world. Or I can feel so dark, I want to disappear forever. I just know, I'm just done, right? But that's my gift. It's like it is a superpower. So I
Mhm.
go from like a feeling. I always said in a lot of my marketing, I talk to my tribe, I say we're going from invisible to invincible. Like the sense that nothing's possible to everything's possible. And that's the spark I think you're definitely referencing here. And so I just know that I'm so grateful for you that and how that works is like when we look for the gift and what isn't working out, we can discover like what the God, source, universe trying to give to us, right? And I think that is so key, because often we are facing challenges, and if we don't get in an observant state, we think we're lacking, or the universe is lacking even, and we miss that there's something that's wanting to come through. We just chill out, it's coming through, it is happening, and you just have to just through your intentionality and the flow of your energy. There's so much we could talk about with that, right? But it's happening, it's onboarding. But in a lot of times we just let it get short circuited because we're get too freaked out, right? So that's kind of how I see it. So I'm fascinated though, Aliki, with the people you've worked with. So you've seen these high levels of creativity and ability to download and be successful, probably with people again that felt very challenged at times. Like you felt challenged at times. How do people go? Because there's a lot of people listening that they're in business, or they want to be in business, they want to rock it out with their purpose and do their thing, but they're feeling challenged with marketing, sales, or what do I do, or what is my big thing? How can people go from make it more dive into this more, like how can people go from like, yeah, things are working for me so well, to flipping that, flipping the script, so to speak?
So, and I'm listening in for the answers because
Yes, she's
what I
tuning.
do, I listen in for what would be important for the people who are listening. So that's why I take a couple of breaths there. Um, so first of all, these are the times right now when we're going through evolution of humanity.
Yes.
A year ago, nobody would have thought we are going to have a lockdown, pandemic, that everything that was familiar will be unfamiliar, that so much is changing. If you're continuing to breathe and take one step at a time, you are already successful.
Mhm.
I'm very serious about it. If you're smiling, if you're feeling you can create, you're doing great. It's very interesting. I do see two paths right now. Some people go into fear and anxiety and they really go and stay there. And some people actually are finding opportunities and tremendous opportunities in today's time. They may not express themselves fully financially, in terms of recognition yet, but there's a new things and they're exciting. So one of the things that really helps to understand your path is joy and increased energy. And when it's easy, when it's fun, when you do it because you enjoy it, then you are on the path. When it's draining and you have to work hard, as we are trained and programmed by society and by families and by social media, when you're working hard, you're off the path. But it's such a predominant programming. I've had that, a lot of that, and I've done things like chemistry, which was completely not mine. It taught me to understand things in a structural way, and it taught me to learn, but it was completely not my direction. I went there because it was hard and I had to accomplish something that was hard. And I was a promising young scientist, and I'm so glad that because of other circumstances, I couldn't continue that career because I would have been unhappy. And some of us are programmed to go into practices and businesses that are not ours. It might have been the family. It might have been the environment. And again, for Silicon Valley, for example, where I am right now, we have a program, a software developer. Yeah, everybody's got to go there. But if you think about it, that's a lonely life. You're sitting in front of the computer most of the time. And I personally had to convince people who were going in that direction, but were very creative, more the theater people, the music people, not to do it because they would have been making good income and thoroughly unhappy. So other program professions, lawyers, doctors, everybody here wants their children to make good money. So these are the three top directions. And how many people I know who have achieved success in those type of professions are very popular, and they're unhappy. It's like making a copy from somebody else's life. You're not living your own. And it's natural and it's normal. We all exchange energy all the time. Right now, when we are listening, we're exchanging energy. What we don't do, we never clean it up. If you never took a shower, how would you look? How would you smell? You'd be very different. And this is what happens. Energetically, we don't do it. We brush our teeth every morning. We don't clear the energy of others. Therefore, we are programmed by family, society, by our ancestors who passed along their programming to their children and their passed to their children. So you're carrying the programming of people who lived thousands of years ago, and it's not necessarily relevant. It was valuable for them, but it's not relevant. Our reactions physically are the same as reactions to a tiger in the bush when our boss or our partner or somebody else looks at us and they don't smile, and you think, oh, something bad is going on. They don't like me, or going to lose my job, or whatever that might be, or that customer. And we have all of the sets of hormones going off, and we get the cortisol up, and we're going in fight flight response. Why? Because before there was a tiger in the bush. It was more important to survive than to know that there is a lot of food somewhere. Now we don't have the tiger in the bush. We still have the same physical reaction. It's not serving us. So a couple of things here. The whole idea about genius is that you get into the genius state when you're having access to information that is beyond what you rationally have in your head, just the knowledge, and you can create at a different level when you are in a different brainwave. You switch off the amygdala or your executive center in your head so that you can create without limitations. Your creative ability grows tremendously. You can't do it when you have your rational thinking present because it limits you. It's natural. So one of the things very important for us to learn is to live in that different state. And it's a tremendously joyous and rewarding state because when we create in whatever way is natural for us, could be music, could be painting, could be downloading software code, could be parenting, could be, I mean, just there's so many different ways of creating, and each person has a unique way of expressing their genius, unique way of creating. So whenever we create, we're fulfilled. Not only we are fulfilled, but by definition, when we do what we love, we do a great job, better than others. So we feel good, our confidence grows, that work is appreciated by others. So you get rewarded, you become successful by doing what you love, by having a good time, by creating what you're excited about, by having more energy to life after work. When we do what we do not love, what's not our natural genius, and we don't have meaning in it, we get drained. We're not rewarded for it. We don't feel good ourselves, and we don't have energy for life. Which choice do you make? You're asking, how do we do it in these strange times, which is even harder than before? We choose to do what energizes us. We choose to do what brings us joy, because by definition, when you do that, you do it better than others. You don't appreciate it most likely because it wasn't hard. But that's
Right.
exactly the sign. So when we do what's easy for us, that's our gift. That's your gift. What you do when it's easy for you, when you want to just do it because it's fun, that's your gift. And when you do it well, which is natural for you, I mean, some practice is absolutely necessary, but you are creative in it, and you will create something that's unique. For that, you will be rewarded. So what you do is, first of all, you do what you love, because when you talk about it, then your marketing happens naturally, because when people feel your passion,
Yeah.
there's, first of all, they can see who you are. They
Right.
see your authenticity. They see your uniqueness, and they connect with that immediately. You can be quirky, you could be anything. When you're real, people want to be with you. When you're living somebody else's life, yeah, then marketing does not feel real, nothing happens, it's not aligned. It's like when you are joyous, because you love what you do, because you love your life, when you're joyous, people come in naturally. Things start aligning naturally. It's like as if you're in a magical vortex, magical circle. It's natural to attract more joy and more wonder and miracles when you're in that state. And how do you get there? You you do what brings you joy. It's that simple. And again, we forgot. A lot of people forgot. I have put together something I call a genius blueprint assessment, which has 8 profiles of genius, and it, as well as it also measures the current level of consciousness, how the person sees the world. And while people answer the questions, and all the questions are about what do you love more, and they very often don't even know what they love. Just think of that. We've been programmed out of what we love. So I had to change the questions to their childhood. What did you love as a child? Because that they may remember.
Right.
So it's very interesting. Yes, we may or may not remember what we love. Yet we can always find out what it is if we really give it time, attention, and focus. If you ask the question yourself, what do I love better? Do I love that better? Do I love better? Little by little, when you do things and you kind of listen to yourself, you'll start noticing, I kind of want to do that again. Yeah, I don't have to, but I really want to.
Right.
I'm starting to create ideas in that direction, because creativity awakens when we do what we love, when it's fun, when it's, is it fun for you to do it? It
Right.
may be odd, it may be not needed, but is it fun?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because, again, myself being in business for a while now, I've had a lot of ideas, and typically it's like if it's all guidance based. If I get the guidance, okay, do this, then I'm just going to do it. So what I've been noticing lately for myself, and maybe other people can hear themselves within me, right? So I'm going to use myself as an example. I think too, you wanted to share something with us today with a process as well. But like, I just want to say, like for myself, I get, I've been getting several, different ideas, different things I can pursue, and maybe all of them are meant to be pursued at some point. But some recently, like in the past, it didn't used to be an issue. It just all seemed to come to me and I make sense. But like, I've been more like, I noticed this hesitancy inside myself. Like, well, I could create that. I could do that. I have a sense of guidance to do that. I have a sense of it's a yes. I could, it's easy for me to get a yes or no to something. I'm sacral power, so like it's easy for me to know. But I got this whole slow down thing going for myself right
Mhm,
now.
mhm.
I've already done. I'm a manifesting generator in human design. Some people maybe have heard of that. It means we try to take shortcuts. We're constantly trying to end run it. Like, let's run around that. Let's get it done faster. So that's not an issue. But lately I've been noticing, and I know it's part of my own journey and the collective journey. It's like, the easier the better. So in other words, if there's any sense of I'm scrambling, I'm gonna have to work really hard to get it done, it's just a no. It's just a no. It's like dead on arrival on the desk. I mean, almost like it's like, or it gets put in the possibility pile. It's just like, well, if there's an easy way to do it, fine. Otherwise, I'm just not going to do it, which is so counter to our programming. So for me, I have to literally be like, but if you would get going on it, that would be good for you and for your business. And I'm like, okay, I've been down that road before. I've been there, done that. Okay. It was fine. It was great. But I've done that. Okay. So no, so it's like this negotiation sort of going on where I've set my intention. No, it's got to be easy. It's got to be flowing. It's got to be joyful, light, all those things. So I've just set my intention for it. But I notice I still that part of your brain just still questions it. It's like that thing. It's like, well, wait a minute, aren't you going to do it? And so it's very interesting, the process. So I was wondering, I mean, for our audience, it has a lot of ideas, and they're very creative people. A lot of the people listening, and they kind of wonder, should I do this one? Should I do that one? Maybe they all sound kind of joyful, but maybe they don't know which one to pick. And I was wondering, if you had some downloads or wisdom for all of us that, kind of wondering, well, what's my direction? Things are crazy right now. Maybe I'm going to create. How do I create stuff? The whole world seems different. Everything, the whole reality is different. Create what? Is there anything to create? Maybe we should just, like you were talking about earlier, like let's just have a party and celebrate who we are and just be done with it and see what happens from there. So it's an interesting time, this quantum time that we're in. That's why I feel it's the quantum, right? It's the quantum age, fifth dimension, right? And beyond. So we're talking about with quantum humans. So a lot of us are feeling probably more bewildered. I mean, not all of everybody, but many of us are feeling more like it's good, but it's like, wow, I feel so unbounded. I don't know which direction to go.
And it's such an important question. And I know it's in the minds of a lot of people. And all I can say is clearing what's not yours in your system will make a very big difference, because one of the, this is one of the processes that we can do right now, a process of clearing your energy. Because think of that, all of that programming that has been passed on to you has formed an inner operating system that runs your life. And most of the programming happened before the age of 5. And think about how relevant a lot of it is to you. Just think of that. There's a lot of stuff that was relevant at the time, but it's not relevant now. As little children, we form systems to cope with something that we don't know how to deal with. You're in doubt. You're in business. You're creating something, but you're doing it with all of that complexities that were put into your system. It's like bugs in the system, viruses in the system. When we clear it up, we clear the stories, we clear the roots of it, then things are easy. And one of the things that I mean, meditations in general really help to restart the system, like clear the cache in the computer, right? You have to restart it. Same thing here. All this unprocessed information, unprocessed stories, they create confusion. They make us feel like we're running all the time. In reality, what is the most effective way of making decisions is giving it space and allowing the intuition to come in. It's interesting. So one of the exercises I have, we're not going to do it today because it takes time, but I have 7 levels of consciousness. And when there is a problem or decision to be made, we look at it and we release all of the emotions at each level of consciousness. First one is the victim. And, typically when there is a problem means that you're stuck somewhere. So there's some energies of lower level energy that's stuck there. So for your exercise, take a problem that you have. Write everything at level 1 when you feel like a victim, and there is self-guilt and self-doubt, and there's no energy, and when you're blaming yourself, just write it all down, all of it, in the way you say it to yourself. Then put the blame outside, second level. Write it down saying it's their fault, it's the spouse, the government, whatever, the boss, whatever. Write that all out. Honestly, you don't have to show it to anybody. It's for you to release that energy. Then go to the rational piece, level 3, where you explain things, kind of understand that. With that, you can see different perspectives. Write it all out. And it may feel already very good because it's a different place, but it's not yet creative place. Then go to the next level of heart, and do it with compassion. Why do you even care about that situation? There is something there that's meaningful. So look at it from the stand of compassion, write it all out. The next level, connecting the head and the heart. Write it all out from the place of greatness, because when you have compassion, the secret to transforming from scarcity to abundance is when you start accepting and loving yourself. When you accept yourself, you stop judging yourself. When you stop judging yourself, then it's not important what others think of you. Then you choose what's fun. When you choose what's important, then you choose greatness in yourself and others. And then you start creating what's meaningful, and you play big versus small. This is your secret passage, self-love and self-acceptance. And then the next level, after you play big, write everything at that level. In this problem, in this situation, if I'm making a big difference, if I was to completely if I was to reinvent the situation, what would I change? How would I do it? How would I rebuild it? And then that next level up is going inside into your mastery and connecting with all of your body, which is your intuition. Your body gives you signals of yes or no. There was a study in Pearson Lab where they were doing the cards. There were 2 stacks of cards, and people were asked to pull from one stack that was leading to small losses, and the other stack was leading to big losses. And they hooked them up to all kinds of measurement system. And consciously, they got the understanding of which stack of cards was leading to big losses at I think was 36 draw, 36 times they had to draw. Their body reacted on 8th draw. So your body knows, your intuition knows a lot earlier than you do. So one of those things, so when we listen to this intuition, what happens, we connect with our body. And when we listen to intuition, to the intuition, we're not just connecting with the facts, we're also tapping to the knowledge that's available outside of us. Consciousness, if we think about it from a perspective, quantum physics even, all of those ideas existed. Leonardo da Vinci, where did he get those drawings? Where did he get those ideas? We're so ahead of his time. He got them from somewhere. Poets, musicians, composers, they say they download things. They just have to write it down. Software programmers do the same thing. I've talked to people. There is something that happens where, and I've interviewed some geniuses, and they say it's like I hook into different database. And these are physicists, not quantum physicists. These are scientists, or it's like as if it's somebody within me that's inventing. So when we connect with intuition through our body, we start getting connected with a database of knowing, which is much bigger than what we have in our head and our knowledge today.
And that's what gets us connected then into what you call the genius DNA. Is that right? Or
genius blueprint? Yeah. We all have genius DNA. It's a unique combination of everything. But for me, you activate it fully when you're in a different state of mind. It's alternate state of mind. When you connect with your intuition, you get your answers. You get to know what, and again, a lot of people can do it even right now. I mean, you can just take a couple of deep breaths and just imagine somebody. Okay, I'll do it very. It's not the process I intended to do, but I want you to know yes and no. Very, very powerful, because it's going to help you to understand what's a yes and what's a no in any situation. And you need to listen to your body. Just close your eyes and cross your arms and cross your legs. Take a couple of deep, easy breaths and just settle into your body. And just kind of scan your body from toes up. Just notice how you feel. There is nothing to do. Just kind of like notice. Another deep, easy breath. Relax even more. And now imagine somebody you care about, somebody who's important in your life, saying, no, no, no. Where is that feeling? Notice it. Now take another deep, easy breath. Relax. And now imagine somebody you deeply care about saying, yes, yes, yes. Where is that feeling? In your body. Now take another deep, easy breath. Open your eyes, stretch a little bit, and we'll clear this stuff. But have you noticed in your body where was a yes and a no?
Yeah. I mean, I'll answer for. I'll be the one in the audience that can say. So, I mean, in my sacral chakra, I got a clear feeling for a no. And then when it was a yes, this was interesting. I hadn't been aware of this until you took me through that process. I felt it first in my sacral chakra, but then I like my whole channel started opening up. It was like sacral, heart, the crown, everything started opening up. So it was really interesting.
Bigger feeling. And it's different for every person. So again, as you're listening to it, where was it for you? And you can ask that about anything. You can ask it about, is it the right project to work on? Do I need to go to this dinner because I have questions about it? Is it a good investment? Because your body, your intuition knows more than all the facts. I mean, you have access already to all of the wisdom in the world. And it's just you're not realizing you have it. And what we will do right now, we'll do a real energetic process, clearing some of the programming that is preventing you today from accessing your genius. Because NASA study on 1,600 children that was lasting for 20 years showed that 98% of children at the age of 5 have genius level creativity. 98% of children, meaning all of us. The same children were given similar tests in 5-year intervals. And how many do you think had genius level creativity at the age of 25 out of these children?
5%?
Two.
Only two. Okay.
2%. And now think of that. Does it mean it's hopeless? No, that genius is still there. It's still there. That's the beauty of it. It's just we got disconnected from it. So to remove the programming that disconnected us from our genius, which is a normal place for us to be. And now think about it. You're in your genius. Would you have fun creating when you're in your genius? Yeah. Would you be fulfilled? Yeah. Would your genius level work be valued by the society, and will you be rewarded at a different level versus something that's average? And when you have something that is truly unique and wonderful? I mean, how do you market something that's unique and wonderful? Is it harder or is it easier? Because it's unique and wonderful. Just whatever it is. How would your relationship with people change when you are happy, fulfilled, and better rewarded, and you are loving what you do? You come home to your partner, to your children, to your parents, to your friends. You come home and you're happy. How does that change your relationship? How do you work with other people when you love what you're creating together? How do your customers love you when you are like, oh, we've just come up with this fabulous thing. It's going to make a difference for you here. They're like, yes, 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 I want that. Right? It's a huge shift. When you are happy, when you do what you love, when you live your life from joy. It's a gift to all of the humanity. And there's so much more. From energetic standpoints, Dr. David Hawkins was doing measurement of how, when we are in a state of love, how many people were affected. And it was not even state of genius, that's actually lower level. One person in that vibration positively affects 700,000 people. Just think of that. You making yourself happy, you allowing yourself to love what you do, creating what's meaningful, creating what's fun, having a good time, positively affects lives of 700,000 people. Would you do that then? See why people are so unhappy, because they don't do what's natural for them. When they don't fulfill their genius, it's like, in a way, they're not fulfilling their purpose. If you look, I'm not personally religious, I'm spiritual. And in every religion, there is a mention of the gifts that are given to the person to be realized. In every native culture, it's the same story. There is a reason for it. That's one hour of our missions and purposes of being here, to realize our gifts. So joy, fun, getting more energy, playing, because when you play, by definition, your amygdala is not on, you're not having this fight and flight response. Isn't that a great way to work and make money? I think what could be more fabulous than that? So let's right now prepare for a process. This process, so what we're gonna do is ground and clear your energy from some of the programming that has been given to you. And the idea is that sensing it, most people have about 99% of their energy in their space, not their energy, not their authentic energy. Therefore, it's so hard to make decisions. It's hard to know what you want. Do I go for this? I do have this idea, right? Because they're not in their own energy. They have these repeat thoughts all the time, unprocessed emotions. When we feel our own emotions, when we feel them, they leave us. When we feel emotions of others, and people like you, they pick empathic people, they pick up a lot of emotions of others. We can feel them all along, but it's not going to serve us. We can't release them. It's not our energy. So I strongly recommend everybody to do energetic hygiene the same way you brush your teeth in the evening and in the morning. Every day before you go to sleep, and we'll do the process right now. You can listen to it multiple times. It's a very simple process. You do it, you are going to bed more you. You wake up in the morning, you do it, you are setting the day and you're setting the energy for the day, and it's going to be a more wonderful day. And when you have more wonderful day and they do it tomorrow, it's going to be even more wonderful and even more wonderful and even more wonderful. So you are creating your life differently. And the more you are you, the more fun life is for you. And the more others start being attracted to you, you're becoming magnetic. People want you because you're real. And I had a moment where I wasn't real in my life, for sure. I was an HR executive and I was working in startups, and the economy was tanked and I needed a job. And I remember I showed my resume to my husband and he said, I don't understand a word. He was a physicist and he was a brilliant man. He's like, there's no meaning in it. It's all coded words. They have no meaning. I don't understand what you do. And I remember how I put on a gray suit that was not very good, so that I don't look too good. I didn't put my makeup on the way I normally would. I didn't want to look too good. I didn't want to say what I thought because I was scared. And from that place of scarcity, I was trying to be somebody I'm not. But people couldn't connect with me. It was a very difficult time. I mean, it had financial and other aspects to it. I mean, I'm not going to talk about it all, but it was a very difficult time. And it got really, really dark. And then, because I had nothing to lose, I have become more myself and everything has changed. So let's clear your energy. right now. And again, it's a new process. We will do what's right for you right now. The more you repeat it, the more powerful it is, and it's going to have exponential effects. And it's a great practice to also do. Let's say you've had a difficult conversation, you've met people you are not comfortable with. I mean, a lot of people say, you know, they feel like somebody sucks their energy. So clearing the energy of others is very powerful, and it will make a difference in your life. So get in a comfortable position, uncross your arms, uncross your legs, take a couple of deep, easy breaths, and just settle into your body. And there are two definitions, and just follow with me. Put your wisdom, your human wisdom that knows how to be on this planet right now and how to be you in your life right now, and your spirit sees the big picture. Put them together, ask them to work together in alignment. It's different from higher self. It's different from everything else. It's like a new muscle. You are asking your human wisdom and your spirit to work together. Deep breath and relax. And let's set an intention that you will be clearing your energy in the way that's perfect for you right now. And give the whole being permission. And by putting your wisdom and spirit in charge, you're giving the whole being permission. Deep breath. Relax. And now let's erase whatever grounding you have right now and ask the earth to send you a beam of energy about 3 feet or 1 meter wide. And it stops underneath your spine and connects only with your authentic energy in your space. Feeds it, validates it, heals it, nourishes it, and also works like a main root of the tree and pulls out the energies of others. The energies of others, even if they're given to you with love, they're still toxic for you because they're not yours. It's their beliefs, it's their perceptions, their rules, their stories. So let's just allow for whatever is important for you to release right now, especially in terms of accessing your unique genius, seeing yourself as a genius, connecting with that. Great. You guys are doing great. Letting it to be released. Now let's ask for masculine and feminine energies to be grounded in you, because we all have a combination of those. And feminine energy usually is about creating a space where you can grow, be nurtured, be loved up. And masculine energy is typically more about action. So let's help to ground those energies. Again, lots of programming by society, by families, by ancestors about what it means. And what we're doing as we're removing that programming, the earth is removing that programming, you get that energy, that space replaced with your own wisdom. You already have access to all the wisdom that you will ever need. Deep breath, relax. And now imagine a huge magnet, about refrigerator-sized magnet, about 5-6 feet in front of you. And let that magnet do the work. Again, no effort. We're just playing around. Allow that magnet to attract the energy from the front part of your body and your energy space that's not yours. It has to do a lot about how you were perceived by others. There's lots of programming there. So it's their perception. You can choose to let it go. Just imagine you're in a cafeteria, you're having all these options. What do you choose? You choose to try what you like, right? You don't have to eat them all. So easy, just letting it happen, no effort. Your wisdom and spirit are working on picking what's most important to let go of right now. Deep, easy breath, just relax. Another deep, easy breath. And now let's drop that magnet into the core of the earth and let this energy be recycled into the universal energy, the earth energy. And if the earth decides that some of the energy that's there in that magnet is beneficial to return to those it belongs to, it will do so. You don't need to know what it is. You don't need to do anything. And now let's put another magnet above your head, about 12, 15 feet above your head, big, big refrigerator size magnet, and let it clear the energetic centers above your head and in the upper part of your body. And especially the area in the very top of your head, there's almost like a CD that's full of programming on the very top of your head, which is like crown energy center or crown chakra. Energy center, it's just more of the modern way of saying that. And again, programming that's not yours and it's beneficial for you to let go of. One more thing, we're not doing everything in this moment. We do not want to create a healing crisis. We do whatever is just right, the Goldilocks principle. Not too much, not too little. Whatever is just right. Deep, easy breath. And also on the shoulders, because this is where we carry responsibility. And you hear those words, I carry the world, the weight of the world on my shoulders. Your responsibility, your authentic responsibility that's aligned with your values actually feels good. It's the responsibilities that were programmed into you by others that don't feel exciting. So let's allow this magnet to attract what's most beneficial for you to let go of. And your wisdom and spirit are looking through it and picking what to release right now. Deep, easy breath. All right, let's drop that magnet into the core of the earth. So this energy gets recycled. Put another one behind your back, 5, 6 feet. Again, big, big, big one. And this will work on clearing the unconscious programming, the automatic patterns that you have. You don't even notice that you have them. So that you're more aware of them and you're more aware of what is it that you may want to change and how to change that. Again, your wisdom and spirit are doing that. There is no effort. Just relax. This is easy. Deep, easy breath. Now let's drop that magnet into the core of the earth and put another magnet below your feet, about 15 feet or so, and allow that magnet to attract the energy that's not yours from lower part of your body, especially the parts, the moving parts, the joints. We tend to keep a lot of energy there. And the whole idea is you want to dance with the unfolding of life. It's not a particular destination. It's not a particular something. If we're not dancing with life, we're not living it. And that's the co-creation of life, when we dance with it. So allowing for more freedom and more joy in every movement, and allowing also for you to know when you are on your path and when you step off, so you can choose to step back if that's your choice. Especially clearing the soles of your feet, because there is a lot of energy centers that have to do with your purpose. Again, ease, flexibility, joy of movement. Great. All right, now let's drop that magnet in the core of the earth, and let's put up a golden ball above your head and ask your wisdom and spirit to collect your energy from where you left it. And it's from people. Sometimes we leave energy in places where we were hurt, some at different times in your life. And from wherever your wisdom and spirit want to bring it, not all of it. Whatever is most important for you right now. Deep, easy breath. And as this energy is being brought into the golden ball, it's also inspected. And the energy that was in your space, but was not yours, goes down into the core of the earth, and only your authentic energy goes into the golden ball. Deep, easy breath. And as it's going into the golden ball, it's getting updated because, it comes from different times. You're different every moment. And it's being let known what you're up for right now, like with this particular process. And after that, it's getting rejuvenated, resparkled, cleaned up. Very good. Now let's send this energy, beam this energy down onto you. And let's bring more of your authentic essence Now we have more space, we can do that. Before there was no place to put it. And now let's fill the rest of your space with golden universal energy, because nature abhors vacuum. So if you don't fill it up, it will get filled up with whatever is around. This way, it's something that's wonderful for you. Deep, easy breath. Now let's update your grounding. Quickly raise your grounding. Imagine another beam of energy coming up from the core of the earth. This energy fits you now. It connects only with your authentic energy, loves it up, supports it, nourishes it, and pulls out whatever is not beneficial for you, like a main root of the tree. Again, also grounding your masculine and feminine energy. Good. Now take a deep, easy breath again. Just notice how you feel right now. And let's set the intention this process will continue, and it will be with you, and it will continue clearing your energy. To set your intention like that. And now slowly open your eyes, stretch. Remember to drink a lot of water. Pat your body, stamp your feet, come back. Yeah. So how are you feeling? Just
Great, great, great. It's so interesting. I experienced a similar process not that long ago. So it was like, but it's different each time. So, but yeah, it was really good. It was really, really wonderful.
and the interesting thing, you may or may not notice a significant difference now, but it will be an exponential change, because we're not trying to do too much at the same time, because we don't want to have a healing crisis. And another thing is, as you're doing it, you may want to set up a particular intention. I mean, right now, my intention is about genius, opening up your gifts. So intention directs our energy. It makes a very big difference. But you may have something different. Maybe there's a healing situation. Maybe it's abundance situation. So whatever is preventing you from abundance, from being in your natural state of abundance, or maybe it's a love situation, right? It's natural for us to be in a state of love, loving ourselves, loving the world, loving other people. We are pure love. That's the energy of life. So whatever is in the way, you can do the general thing and just clean up your energy, or in a certain situation, you can choose to have an intention that's specific for it. I mean, there's a lot more processes, but this one will always benefit you.
Yeah, no, it's a really awesome thing, and it's really powerful. So it kind of takes you into that wavy place where it gets a little bit harder to talk, right? So
Right. And again, I will not be talking when you're doing it for yourself. So it's not going to take as long, because right now I had to explain a few things so that you're more aware of what is it that's happening there.
right. So Aliki, this is awesome. So where can people, I know you had some things to share with the audience today. So you want to go ahead and share. You had some gifts, and how they can contact you, and you're up to amazing things I'd love for you to share. I mean, things that are not just the normal usual stuff. So why don't you share what you have for the audience today?
Sure. And normal and usual stuff. What's normal and usual? I think we're all so much more than normal, and we're so much more than usual that in a way, I celebrate when these words come up, because they show that we are way beyond that. So there are a few things I'd love for you to use. First of all, at the time of pandemic, I recorded more than 60 meditations. And pandemic is going on. So some of at the beginning, they're free and available on Leap #2 Genius Facebook page. They're all there in daily order, but you would want to go deeper in time to start from the beginning. And you just pick the ones that are working for you. It starts with the immune system, strengthening the immune system, removing the fears and everything else. And then we go through a whole transformation, and we restart and reinvent, and we create the Renaissance man there, and we create a different society. And right now I'm doing more of that as well, because we're in a different stage of it, where we truly are creating a very different stage in human evolution and development of Earth. Some of it is also on my Leap number 2 Genius channel on YouTube. There is about 20 of them, so you can look them up. And there you also have some presentations on Leap to Genius. They're small, like half-an-hour presentations, as well exponential organizations. I will be also posting shortly some of the innovation meditations. I did a series of innovation meditations for innovation community to increase innovation. I just haven't posted them yet. I will be posting them shortly, and they will be available on YouTube channel as well. One of my favorite ones is, if you are ever sad, I have a meditation there where we laugh so much. That was for April 1st, because again, the April 1st was not a happy one this time. Therefore, I wanted to bring happiness. And if you ever feel like you could use a good laugh, just go there, and you will see I'm wearing a funny hat, so you will recognize that meditation. So that's the things that are available immediately. I am putting together right now some programs for activating genius, and there will be an announcement shortly. I do have a website that's Leap to Genius, again, number 2 Genius, and my Genius Blueprint assessment is just about to be released, so it will be available very, very shortly. It's being packaged up.
Yes, absolutely. We want to see that. That's you were telling me about that. So, yep, and we can't wait for that to be released. And then, so go to www.leap2genius.com, and that's where you can take advantage of the meditations. And
I'm sorry, Daniel. No. Meditations are not there. That's more of for people who understand to understand the logic of what's the genius profiles, different levels of consciousness.
It's under it's a Leap to Genius Facebook page. Is that right?
Right. Leap to Genius Facebook page. That's where you will find the meditations. And again, scroll a little bit, because I do post there interesting information. Scroll down a little bit. You'll see them all in order. They're all available, all public. So please enjoy them and share them, because I want people to do it. It's wonderfully powerful. I have the most tremendous and loving feedback from people who listen to them. And it turns out there's a lot of people who listen to them. So take advantage of it. It's something that's unique. It's something that's important. And, if you're ever interested in, me speaking to your audience or company, because I believe this is a win-win-win for everybody. It's a win-win-win for each person. It's a win-win-win for each leader. It's a win-win-win for each team, as well as for each company. And as I was an HR executive in the past, I know how much of importance it has when people are happy working together, when there is genius teams, when they work like this genius hubs in the brain. I mean, what they call it in the brain, very active connections of neurons. The hubs, they call them hubs. And when they're not very active, they have very little value. So we're just charging everything up, and it's good for people. So please share. I want you to be in your genius. I want us to be in your genius. I want everybody to be in your genius. It's time of evolution. We are changing. It's being called quantum human, meta-human, homo deus, different names. It doesn't matter. That's what we're going through right now. We're opening up those capacities that you may have dreamed about. What people can do, what I can do, what my colleagues can do, and people who I work with can do is beyond what we think is normal. It's our superpower. Right. When we are in our superpowers, we're miraculous. You are miraculous. Everyone around you is miraculous. Let's open it up. That's how we're made. We're activating genius DNA.
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. So if you want to contact Aliki, then you can contact her at Aliki, which is ALIKI at leap, number 2, genius.com. So Aliki at leap2genius.com. And did you want to give your phone number? I see it here.
Sure. 408-807-0716.
Outstanding.
Let me repeat. 408-807-0716.
Wonderful. So that's awesome. And I just And I'm so excited for what you're doing, and it's so foundationally important for everything that's wanting to happen. You're playing your big role with what you're doing in the world with that, and I'm so grateful for that. Now, during this time of the show, usually is when I offer a minute or two of tuning into your energy and just sharing some things that I'm noticing about your purpose or whatever comes through. So you're ready to receive?
Absolutely, I'd love that. Then thank you so much
Okay.
for doing it. Much,
Just,
much, much appreciated.
okay, so I'm just going to be still for just a second and tune in to see what wants to be shared. Yeah, so when I tune into your energy, man, when I get into your brain, it's just like this infinite sense of creativity. So it's really kind of wild, you know. It's really I want to say unique, pretty unique. Talk about creative genius. You know, that creative genius has really been largely there's a large awakening in there, and it just sees so many possibilities, so many opportunities. So it's just a matter of the allowing the harnessing to, you know, the landing and the grounding to keep happening and whatnot. But so I just noticed that first, just the level of what's coming in, and then let's see what else is coming through. Um, you know, some of the issues may be, again, when I pick up on the field, again, people may have cleared or what have you, but like I still see what things are there. So I do see like energy hitting the back of the neck and head. So it's a feeling of so what's really cool about what you're teaching is like your past could be this life or past lives, but like it's like you're in joy, and then something just takes you by surprise. You're like, oh, it's perfect, then it's a whammo. So so it's like having this real stronger connection you've established for yourself and you're establishing for others is helping you, you know, on your soul path. It helps everybody, right? That's experienced that. How many of us feel like we've had our joy robbed? Like, oh, they just took my joy right away from me, as the program, right? The idea, like they took it from me. So, but so I noticed that that's been there. But I really see that this sense of really owning the power and value of just fully receiving, being in, for lack of a better word, like a queenhood kind of energy, if you want to call it that. But like, just like, yes, and that all systems are go and people are getting to work on things, and that it gets a little bit more where you're able to just let things auto flow and generate, you know, and letting the sense of it being birthed and the value of that just naturally flowing. There's you know, that level, deeper level of letting go that continues to unfold. But yeah, I mean, it's really awesome. And you're one of those people, like, you just all your life at some level you just knew that everything's possible, and now you've created that for others, those possibilities, and you're expanding now into even so much more. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share briefly with you today.
And thank you so much, Daniel. And it makes, I mean, everything you said has a lot of meaning and sense to me. And one thing I want to bring up, I was not always that much in my own energy. That's what you're seeing is what's normal for us, each one of us. It's just I've been clearing and rebuilding and becoming more and more myself. And with that, we are huge. We're huge in terms of impact. We're huge in terms of passion. We experience life in such a beautiful way. Even pain is incredibly precious and beautiful. And I wouldn't give up any of my experiences under no circumstance. It's when we are authentic, we are big. So all I'm saying is you are that and so much more in your own unique way.
Right.
And when we are all that, it's marvelous.
You're a tireless advocate. I love it. You're a tireless advocate. You have boundless energy for it. You know you're in your genius then, right? So
and it just feels so wonderful when we are. It's like, I mean, yes, you're right. I don't get tired when I am doing that, just because it's people laugh at me and they say, you know, You never get tired. It doesn't happen. How do you have all this energy? Because I am aligned with my genius. It's just feeding it. It's
Yes.
not me. It's me being aligned. And if you want more energy, that's one of the most incredible ways of getting it.
Yes.
Energy for life. And it doesn't matter how old or young you are.
Yes.
It works for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so it is. And so it is. And so one last thing, we're just going to wrap up now. But if you want to check out what I'm up to, just go to yoursacredpurpose.com. Got a meditate and make money meditation there. Helps to open up those chakras, get those downloads so you can experience the unlimited opportunities. So people are getting great results with that. And then there's opportunities to receive energy scanning from me as well, like what I just did here with Aliki, and obviously with more time, I can go for much further with people. So check all that out at yoursacredpurpose.com. And I just want to thank you again, Aliki, for being on today. And we're so grateful for you.
And it's joy and honor. And I want to thank you for doing what you're doing. You are sharing what's so meaningful. You are the one who created a venue, a platform for touching so many people in the world, bringing in different views, different versions, giving that an opportunity of expanding the way that works for people. What you're doing is truly sacred.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
And I
much.
just want to thank you, because sometimes when we're doing what we love so much, it kind of comes easy to us.
Oh, it does.
And we don't always realize how much of the impact we create. And that's the beauty, because it's fun, it's easy, and it's a great value. So you're doing it right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Aliki. And thank you for everyone tuning in today and being willing to receive and open. And if it feels kind of weird to like open and go deeper and how good it is, and part of me is like, can we trust this? Yeah, you can. Okay. We got two people right here that can tell you can trust more of it. We both continue to trust more and more, and it just gets better and better. So, all right, everybody. Well, we're going to wrap up for today, but you keep on tuning in here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. We'll keep on rocking it. Okay, till next time.
Thank you so much.
You're listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.